They told you that being good was the way, that sacrificing yourself for others would make you noble, that putting everyone else's needs above your own was virtue, and you believed it. Of course you believed it, because it was convenient for them that you believed it. While you were erasing yourself, diminishing yourself, emptying yourself, trying to please, serve, and mold yourself to the desires of others, they kept you exactly where they wanted you, weak, controllable, and obedient. The truth that nobody told you is that this game was rigged from the start. And today, you're going to discover the 5 laws they never wanted you to know. Laws that transform power into reality. Laws that separate the controlled from the controllers. Laws that will fundamentally change how you see yourself and how others see you. Don't click away now, because in the next few minutes, everything you were taught about relationships, influence, and personal authority is going to crumble. And from those ruins, you're going to build something they can never take away from you again. The morality they sold you is a prison. Since childhood, you've been bombarded with narratives about kindness, sacrifice, and altruism. Stories where the hero always puts others first. Where being too generous, too available, too understanding was synonymous with being a person of character. But nobody showed you the other side of that coin. Nobody explained that these same virtues, when distorted and applied without limits, turn you into a doormat, into someone that everyone uses but nobody respects, into a resource that gets depleted until there's nothing left. The brutal truth is that the world doesn't operate based on who's kindest. It operates based on who has more personal power, more autonomy, more capacity to say no. It operates on respect, not on sympathy. And respect is never given freely. It's earned through boundaries, through self-preservation, through the courage to prioritize yourself when everyone tells you not to. And the 5 laws you're about to learn aren't abstract theories. They're functional principles, tested in the raw reality of human relations. Principles that separate those who command from those who obey, who gets pursued from who pursues, who lives on their own terms from who lives according to others' expectations. Brace yourself, because these truths will hurt before they set you free. They'll challenge everything you thought made you a good person, and that discomfort? That's exactly how you know they're working. The first law is the most controversial of all. Selfishness is power. Yes, you read that right. And before you close this video outraged, before you dismiss this as toxic advice, let me explain what this really means. True selfishness isn't pettiness. It's not gratuitous cruelty or psychopathic indifference. It's intelligent self-protection. It's the radical refusal to become an infinite resource for other people's demands. It's understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup, and more importantly, that you shouldn't have to. Think about it. How many times have you sacrificed yourself expecting gratitude and received only more demands? How many times did you give up your time, your peace, your goals to serve someone who disappeared when you needed them? How many times did you cancel your plans, ignore your needs, suppress your desires to accommodate someone who never once asked what you wanted? The problem with unrestricted generosity is that it communicates low value. When you're always available, always willing, always making exceptions, you teach the world that your time is worthless, that your energy is disposable, that your boundaries don't exist. And people, consciously or not, treat you exactly that way. Traditional morality sold you the idea that thinking about yourself is a sin, that self-interest is the root of all evil, that the measure of your character is how much you sacrifice. But that's the biggest manipulation of all. Because whoever doesn't defend their own interests will be eternally used by those who defend theirs. Look around you. The people with the most influence, the most respect, the most genuine relationships aren't the ones who say yes to everything. They're the ones who say no to almost everything. They're selective, protective of their energy, unapologetic about their priorities, and people respect them for it. Strategic selfishness isn't about harming anyone. It's about stopping harming yourself in the name of approval that never comes. It's about recognizing that you're the protagonist of your life, not a supporting character in someone else's story. Not an extra, not a resource, the main character. And when you internalize this deeply, when you truly believe that your needs matter as much as anyone else's, something shifts. People feel it. They perceive that you're no longer negotiable, that they can't manipulate your kindness anymore, that there's a line they cannot cross. And ironically, that's when respect appears. Because respect isn't born from submission, it's born from clear boundaries, from the willingness to walk away, from the understanding that you'd rather be alone than disrespected. If you're still watching, leave a comment saying, "I am the protagonist." That shows me you're really getting it, that you're ready to reclaim your power. The second law is about controlling your energy. Time, energy, and focus are the only real currencies you possess. Money you can recover, opportunities can arise again, relationships can be rebuilt. But the time you waste, the energy you give to those who don't deserve it, the focus you fragment in 1,000 insignificant directions, that never comes back. Ancient kings didn't rule by physical force alone. They ruled because they knew where to invest attention. They knew that presence has weight, that what you give your attention to grows, and what you withdraw attention from withers. And you need to learn this now. Every time you respond immediately, you're teaching that you have nothing more important, that you're waiting around for their message, that their time matters more than yours. Every time you let someone consume hours of your nights with dramas that aren't yours, you're declaring that your peace is negotiable, that your rest doesn't matter, that you exist to absorb other people's chaos. Every time you accept constant interruptions, you're signaling that you have no purpose of your own, no mission, no direction, just availability. And availability without purpose is just emptiness dressed up as kindness. This isn't virtue, it's self-destruction. It's slow-motion self-erasure. And the worst part is that people will call you selfish when you finally stop. They'll guilt you. They'll say you've changed, that you're not the person they knew. And they're right, you're not. You're better. Controlling your energy means being brutal with choices. It means cutting conversations that drain you, even if they're with people you care about. It means not explaining every absence, every boundary, every decision. It means declining invitations without guilt, without over-justifying, without apologizing for having a life. And yes, this will bother people, especially those who benefited from your exhaustion, those who got used to unlimited access, those who never had to consider your needs because you never made them consider them. But here's the secret nobody tells you. The more you protect your energy, the more magnetic you become. Because preserved energy is energy that can be invested in yourself, in growth, in purpose, in becoming someone worth knowing, not just someone who's always around. And purpose generates presence, real presence. Not the scattered, depleted presence of someone who gives pieces of themselves to everyone, but the concentrated, powerful presence of someone who chooses carefully where they invest. And presence generates gravity. It pulls people in, makes them want to be in your orbit. The most influential people you know aren't the most available. They're the most selective. They understand that attention is currency, and precious currencies aren't distributed freely. They're invested strategically. So ask yourself now, to whom are you donating the only thing you can't repurchase? To people who value it? To people who reciprocate? To people who even notice? And more importantly, why? What are you getting in return besides exhaustion and resentment? The third law will change how you relate to the world. The power of no. This two-letter word is the boundary between autonomy and servitude, between self-respect and people-pleasing, between power and powerlessness. And most people are terrified of it. Why? Because from early on we learned that saying no is being difficult, annoying, selfish, that likable people are always accessible, always flexible, always understanding, always accommodating. But this programming is a trap, a cage made of guilt and false obligation. Because when you can't say no, your yes loses all value. Think of it this way. If you agree with everything, your agreement doesn't mean commitment. It means fear, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of disappointing, fear of being seen as difficult. And fear is the language of the weak, the vocabulary of the controlled. The psychological truth that few master is that boundaries create respect. When you say no without excessive justification, without apologizing in infinite loops, without negotiating your decision down to a maybe, you demonstrate something rare nowadays: self-respect, self-authority, the belief that your preferences matter. And self-respect is contagious. People start treating you the way you treat yourself. If you treat yourself as someone whose time and energy are valuable, they do too. If you treat yourself as an unlimited resource, as someone who exists to serve, they exploit until you're drained, until there's nothing left. And then they move on to the next person. The practical application of this is revolutionary. Start with small no's. Someone asks something you genuinely don't want to do? No, without beating around the bush, without fabricating elaborate excuses about being busy or having other plans. A simple "that won't work for me" is enough complete sentence. No negotiation. Watch the reaction. Some people will respect immediately. They'll appreciate the honesty, the clarity. They'll know where they stand. Others will insist, test, manipulate. They'll try to guilt you. They'll question your reasons. They'll make you feel like you owe them an explanation, a justification, a dissertation on why you're saying no. These are the people you need to distance yourself from. Because whoever doesn't respect a no never respected you. Just your utility, just what you could do for them. Just your willingness to sacrifice yourself for their convenience. And here's the paradox. The more you say no, the more valuable your yeses become. Because a yes coming from someone with clear boundaries is a gift. It's a choice. It means something. A yes coming from someone who never denies anything is just the expected default. It's worthless. It's assumed. So decide now. Do you want to be the default, or do you want to be the exception? Do you want to be the person people come to because they know you'll always say yes? Or do you want to be the person whose yes actually means something? And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps more people find these truths. These uncomfortable, necessary truths that nobody else has the courage to say. The fourth law is where everything gets fascinating. Scarcity creates respect. This is an inconvenient truth of human psychology that people pretend not to understand. We value what is rare. We pursue what is difficult to obtain. We respect what isn't always available. We want what we can't easily have. And this isn't superficiality. This isn't shallow behavior. It's evolutionary survival. Our brains were programmed over millennia to value scarce resources because scarcity historically meant value. Food was scarce, safety was scarce, strong alliances were scarce. And our psychology still operates on these ancient principles. And the same mechanism applies to relationships, influence, and personal power. When you're always available, you become too abundant, and excessive abundance generates devaluation. It's simple economics applied to human interaction. Think about anything you have in unlimited quantity: air, water from your tap, access to the internet. Do you care that much about it? Do you deeply appreciate it? Do you guard it jealously? Probably not. It's just there, always available, always abundant. Now think about something you have limited access to, something rare, a limited edition item, a rare opportunity. Time with someone you love who lives far away. You guard it. Value it, respect it, make the most of it, plan around it. Prioritize it. People do exactly the same with you. If you respond in seconds, you're not efficient, you're anxious. You're demonstrating that you have nothing else occupying your attention. If you're available to everyone all the time, you're not cool or friendly. You're purposeless. You're someone with no direction of your own. If you're never busy, you're not generous with your time. You're irrelevant. You're someone with nothing important happening in their life. And worst of all is that this constant availability doesn't generate love. It doesn't create appreciation. It generates contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt, and excessive availability breeds familiarity. Because people unconsciously interpret your excessive availability as lack of options, as social desperation, as neediness, and desperation has never been attractive. Neediness has never commanded respect. So how do you apply scarcity without being manipulative? Without playing games? Without becoming someone you're not? Simple. You build a life that genuinely occupies you. You invest in projects, objectives, growth, purpose. You don't pretend to be busy. You genuinely become busy with things that matter, with things that fulfill you, with things that make you better. And when someone wants your time, they need to fit into your schedule, not the other way around. You stop initiating all conversations. Stop always being the first to reach out. Stop always being the first to make plans. Stop being emotionally available 24 hours a day like some kind of free therapy service. And something magical happens. People start wondering what you're doing, where you are, who you're with, what's occupying your attention. And that curiosity is the beginning of respect, because you became rare, unpredictable, valuable, and rare is valuable. Always has been, always will be, in every context. In every relationship, in every interaction. The fifth and final law is the apex of everything. Be the prize, not the competitor, not the pursuer, not the supplicant, not the one trying to prove their worth, the prize. The destination, the goal. This means a total inversion of mindset, a complete paradigm shift. Most people live trying to prove value, trying to convince others that they're worthy of attention, love, respect, consideration. They diminish themselves, adapt, mold themselves, perform emotional acrobatics to earn approval from people who haven't earned theirs. And the more they do this, the less respected they are, because value isn't asked for. Value is demonstrated through behavior, through consistency, through standards. And the behavior of someone who is the prize is radically different from someone who's competing for scraps of attention. The prize doesn't pursue, it attracts. The prize doesn't explain its value, it embodies it, lives it, demonstrates it through action. The prize doesn't beg for attention. It offers it selectively, as a privilege, as something earned, not freely distributed. Think about contests, competitions, any situation where there's a prize involved. The prize doesn't go to the competitors begging to be won. Doesn't chase them around trying to convince them to compete. It simply exists, valuable, desirable, distant, elevated, and everyone competes for it. Everyone wants it. Everyone tries to prove they're worthy of it. You need to become this in your interactions. Personal authority comes from emotional detachment, not coldness, not cruel indifference, not treating people badly, but a refusal to despair for connection. A refusal to need anyone more than they need you. A refusal to compromise your standards out of loneliness or fear. When you stop emotionally clinging to specific outcomes, when you understand that your peace doesn't depend on anyone liking you, when you genuinely live well alone, when solitude becomes your foundation rather than your fear, something shifts in your energy. It becomes clean, powerful, magnetic. People feel it. They perceive that you don't need them, that you're complete without them, that they're adding to your life, not filling a void. And paradoxically, that's exactly what makes them want to be close. Because emotionally balanced people are rare. People who don't drain are rare. People who have purpose independent of external validation are extremely rare. And rarity, as we've discussed, creates value. Being the prize isn't arrogance. It's not thinking you're better than everyone else, it's deep self-knowledge. It's knowing who you are, what you offer, what you bring to any interaction, and refusing to bargain that for crumbs of attention or conditional approval. It's understanding that you're not in this world to be anyone's option, their backup plan, their convenient choice. Their safe bet, you're the primary choice or you're nothing. And it's okay not to be someone's choice. In fact, it's necessary. Because that frees up space for those who genuinely value you, who see you, who appreciate what you bring. Subscribe to the channel now if you want to keep receiving truths that nobody else has the courage to say. Truths that will transform how you see yourself and how the world responds to you. So here we are, 5 laws. 5 principles that completely reorganize the power dynamic in your relationships, in your career, in every interaction you have. And I know what some will say. They'll call this cold, calculating, manipulative, toxic. Let them call it that. Let them project their weakness onto your strength. Because the truth is, these laws don't turn you into a worse person. They protect you from becoming a victim. from becoming a doormat, from becoming someone who gives and gives until there's nothing left. They return the autonomy that was stolen from you, disguised as morality, disguised as virtue, disguised as what good people do. For decades, you've been conditioned to believe your value was in serving, in being available, in being understanding to the point of self-annihilation. And what did you gain from that? Respect? True love? Lasting relationships? Influence? Or just a history of people who used your kindness and disappeared when you stopped being useful, when you finally needed something in return? These 5 laws aren't about becoming cruel. They're about stopping being naive, about opening your eyes to how the world actually works, not how you wish it worked. They're about recognizing that in a world where everyone protects their interests, you need to protect yours too, not apologetically, not reluctantly, but unapologetically and strategically. Strategic selfishness isn't a sin. It's intelligent survival. Controlling your energy isn't being distant. It's being sustainable. The power of no isn't rejection. It's self-protection. Scarcity isn't manipulation. It's natural valuation. And being the prize isn't arrogance. It's self-respect. It's understanding your worth and refusing to accept less. When you master these 5 laws, something incredible happens. You stop crawling for attention and start being pursued. You stop explaining your value and start demonstrating it silently. You stop begging for space and start occupying it naturally, effortlessly, powerfully. And yes, some people will walk away. Those who were only around because you were convenient, because you had no boundaries, because you accepted anything, because you were easy. Let them go. Don't chase them. Don't try to convince them. Let them go and watch what happens. Because at the same time, other people will appear. Better people, people who respect strength, who admire autonomy, who value those who aren't desperate for validation, who appreciate standards, who understand that access to you is earned, not assumed, and these are the only ones that matter. These are your people. Let them call you cold. You're no longer controllable. Let them say you've changed, you've evolved, you've upgraded. Let them miss you. You're busy building the version of yourself that will never need to beg for any place, for any attention, for any validation, because you became the place, the center, the standard, the prize. And prizes don't pursue, prizes don't beg. Prizes don't lower their standards. Prizes exist. Valuable, rare, and completely unshakable. Present, but not desperate. Available, but not cheap. Open, but not boundaryless. Now you have the choice. Return to the victim mentality, where you sacrifice yourself expecting recognition that never comes, where you dim your light hoping others will shine, where you make yourself smaller hoping it makes others comfortable, or embrace these 5 laws and finally claim the power that was always yours. That was always there, waiting for you to be brave enough to take it. Comment below which of these laws impacted you most. Which one hit hardest? Which one are you going to implement first? And if you truly understood this video's message, if it resonated with something deep inside you, share it with someone who's still trapped in the infinite availability trap. Someone who needs to hear this. Someone who's still giving pieces of themselves to people who don't deserve them. This channel exists to unmask comfortable lies and deliver uncomfortable truths. To say what others won't, to challenge what everyone accepts. And I'll see you in the next video, where we'll go even deeper, where we'll explore what happens when you truly internalize these principles, when they become not just ideas but your new reality.